Today on Minecraft Mama, we're going to learn how to make some cool and awesome piggy cookies. What you'll need: sugar cookie mix, 1 egg, and half a cup of shortening. And that is all. I like to use the funfetti sugar cookie mix just to make it extra fun. First thing, you take your egg, you're going to crack it into your bowl. Plop. Then you take your sugar cookie mix and you're going to add it right into the bowl. Make sure you use a really big bowl so it doesn't splash up over the sides. Dump your beautiful sugar cookie mix in. Now for your shortening. You can use butter. I prefer shortening because I like the taste of it better, and it's non-dairy as well. So I get butter flavored shortening even to make it extra yummy. So plop it in, mix it all around. You can use a hand mixer if you want. I just did it by hand. I kind of like to do it by hand to make sure it doesn't fly out everywhere, even though it does get stuck in these little grooves. But don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. It's actually easier to use your hands to mix this mix, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to mix it with my hands, old-fashioned style. Just mix it around. Squish it in your fingers, all squishy-wishy. Mix everything together, and you have one big ball of cookie dough. Don't eat it all yet. You got to cook it first. Now you're going to spray any sort of pan that's oven safe. I like to use a little bit of a wider pan. Take your big ball of dough, and you're just going to press it in to the pan. I'm going to make sure that whatever thickness you want of the cookie, if you want it super thick, you could use a smaller pan. If you want thinner cookies, you could use a longer, wider pan. So it just depends on what size cookies you want. So you just smash all the dough down with your fingers. You could wet your hands first. That way the dough isn't going to stick as bad to your fingers. That's what I like to do. Smash it down there. Make sure you get it all the way to the corners. It's not the end of the world if you don't. There you go. Pop it into the oven, 8 to 10 minutes. Next thing we're going to do is melt our chocolates. So I'm using pink chocolate melts for the little piggy noses. There they are. I'm going to put them in the microwave till they melt. And I bought this cool and awesome thing for the piggy noses. I'll put the link below on Amazon. There you go. You're going to put it in the microwave for about 2 minutes till it's melted. You're going to mix it together. It's all melted, and when it's melted, you're going to put them into the little silicone mold. You just want to press it in with your fingers. Make till it's a little cooled off. You don't want to burn your little fingers. So you press it in. You're going to fill them all up. And this is basically just white chocolate with pink food coloring. So you could also use white chocolate if you didn't have the melts. But again, I'll put the links in the description to all the stuff that I used. So if you want to make it, you can just easily find it. So fill everything up. Sometimes, if you fill up one more than another, you can kind of take some out, but pressing them down, flatten them out. So this side where you're pressing, it doesn't have to look pretty because basically it's going to be upside down on the cookie. So press it down, just flatten it out, make sure it's all the way on the corner so it's a square, perfect square, but if the part that you're pressing down isn't perfectly flat and smooth, it really does not matter. You'll see what I'm talking about when I start to assemble the cookies. So all you have to do is let this cool off. When you let the chocolate cool, it takes about an hour until it's hardened. So just put it aside to cool. There it is. It's all done and hardened. So you just want to place this aside. Now the cookie dough is finished. You want to make sure it's not too hot, but you're going to kind of cut around the edges. Flip it over onto a flat surface, and you're going to cut it into squares. Now, however big of squares you want to make, go for it. You just have to make sure that it's a square because that's the piggy face is a square, not a rectangle, a Minecraft square. I like to cut the edges off just to make it more clean of a cut on the side. The edges tend to kind of bend down a little bit, you can see. But make sure that your cookie dough is all the way cooled off before you cut, because otherwise you will hurt your fingers and it won't cut as well if it's still really warm. And you want to make sure before you frost them, they're all the way cooled. See? A little piggy face. Now you're going to use the snouts. Pop out those snouts and get ready to assemble those cookies. So what you need to assemble the cookies are the pig snouts, your actual cookie squares, and frosting. I made frosting. I'll show on a different link to a different video if you want to learn how to make frosting, but any kind is fine. Of course, it has to be pink frosting. So you take your beautiful frosting that I made. Again, I'll put the link below. And you just drip it on the cookie. Look at that delicious frosting. You want to spread it all around with the back of a spoon. If you want to use a knife, that's fine too. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. My cookies don't look perfect. They're just delicious. And if some frosting drips on the side, that's fine. Take your snout. You want to place it right on the cookie when the frosting is still wet so it will set. There it is. Let it cool for about 5 minutes. The frosting will set. You'll have your snout on there. Now it's time to decorate. I used black and white frosting with a number 3 tip, and I made some brown frosting, just mixing all different colors together because I didn't have brown. So that's what you need for the piggy face. Now for the white, obviously the eyes are white and black. So you're going to want to make little tiny squares on the eyes. I used the white first just because I thought it would be easier. So you're just going to draw a little square, little eyes. You can go back over. I went back over and redid it, but see? Just little eyes. Hello. Oink, oink. Kind of fill it in. I like to make a square first and then kind of fill it in after. But again, it just takes practice, and it doesn't have to be perfect. My squares aren't perfect, just so they look cute. That's all that matters. Now you're going to use black. So the black on the eyes goes on the outside of the piggy. So I like to do the white first, just to have the inside done first. So same thing, you're going to draw a little square with the black frosting. Now the number 3 tip works really well because it's very fine tipped. So for these cookies, they're small squares. I would recommend the number 3 tip. Now if you don't have the number 3 tip, you could use a plastic Ziploc bag, fill it with frosting, and then just cut a tiny, tiny little cut on the end. And that's what I did do with the brown frosting. So you could do that as well if you don't have a number 3 tip. But I will put the link below to that. See? Hello! Look at my eyes! So cute. He's almost done. He has his eyes and his nose, but now he needs his little snout. So same thing, I cut a little tiny bit of the end off. Doesn't work quite as well as a number 3 tip, but for little brown nostrils on his snout. And ta-da! Look at how cute these are. Little Minecraft piggies. I bet you they taste better than pork chops. Oink, oink. What do you think? I think so. Yummy. I'm going to eat you. I'm going to eat you. Ah! Piggy!